Hello there, fellow enjoyers of video games. This video is going to be very different from my recent uploads, seeing as I put some effort into this. This is a series I'm going to be doing now, named Awful Armament Analysis, which is literally just a Walmart version of Bad Weapon Academy, but shh, don't tell anyone I told you that. Without further ado, let's take a look at possibly one of the worst weapons in Energy Assault, being none other than the SKS. The SKS is one of the only two DMRs in Energy Assault, the other one being the VSS, which is literally the best gun in the entire game. Let's go ahead and take a look at these stats. The SKS deals 32 damage and 64 on a headshot, with a decent fire rate for a semi-auto, but if you take a look at the bottom, yeah, the magazine keeps this thing very far from being a reliable damage dealer. Unless you're hitting consistent headshots, which you won't, using this thing in close quarters is a death wish, as you'll need to hit 40% of the shots in your 10-round magazine to get a kill. Now, on paper this doesn't sound so bad, until you account for the fact that both you and your opponent are likely going to be running and jumping all over the place, making it very hard to hit your shots, even if you're good at aiming. And unfortunately, in a game like Energy Assault, you're going to find yourself in close quarters combat all the time. However, that's not to say this thing is very good in long or medium range combat either. Even if you waste hours of your life unlocking the sniper scope with 600 kills, good luck getting more than 5 long range kills without dying. Using this thing to snipe makes me feel like I'm using an airsoft gun against everyone else in the server. Even the Dragunov didn't struggle this bad. A headshot dealt 80 damage, with which you could easily follow up with a body shot or well-aimed shot with your secondary. But with the SKS, it only deals 64 damage, which will leave them on single-digit health if you get another body shot. And the only secondary with which you could possibly follow up an SKS headshot with is the Desert Eagle, which is its own hot mess of a weapon. Or maybe the 93R if you use burst fire mode. Now, let's talk about attachments for this thing. The SKS is unique in the way that it's the only weapon that can get a sniper scope unlocked for it. The other 5 weapons that can use sniper scopes come with them pre-installed. And personally, I think the sniper scope is by far the best sight attachment for the SKS, and I'll explain why. Firstly, the fact that it actually zooms in and gives you a very clear idea of where your bullets are going, and unlike the ACOG, doesn't block your sightline a significant amount, should be enough to sell you on using it. Wait a minute, who wrote this script? Of course it blocks your sightline a significant amount. What the hell? But I'll compare it to the rest of the sights to give you an even greater idea. First off, using iron sights on any gun in Energy Assault is practically a death wish, and that goes no different for the SKS. Now, the red dot is alright, but it's no sniper scope. And the ACOG? Well, I mean, if you don't want to destroy your sanity by grinding for the sniper scope, I guess it's a pretty decent choice, as it does zoom in pretty well, but I cannot tell you how many times I've been killed by someone that was hidden behind the ACOG model. If you're serious about using the SKS for whatever reason that may be, whether you're in a bet with your friend or if you're tired of having good mental health, I'd say the sniper scope is your pick. Now for the rest of the attachments, it's pretty simple. For the underbarrel, it's painfully obvious, never use the torch. Not only could you be getting better hipfire accuracy for free, but you're also essentially holding up a giant light up sign with an arrow pointing to your head that reads free headshot. The only situation I can imagine the torch being useful in is if the person you're fighting against has recently had laser eye surgery, in which case you can run at them and hopefully blind them instantly. But even that only has a small chance of working. And as far as the barrel attachments go, just pick whatever feels most comfortable for you. For me, personally, I like using the suppressor just because I think the trade-off of having 10% less muzzle velocity for being literally undetectable is pretty broken. And whenever I use the muzzle brake, I honestly couldn't feel a difference from just using it without a barrel attachment. Now, how should we go about utilizing the SKS to its best advantage? Well, I've come up with a few different strategies to try and wring out the most value from this thing as I possibly can, even if it'll hurt in the process. Which it did. This first strategy is one I like to call the Assassin. Basically, the premise of using this loadout is to use your Tech 9 as your primary weapon and keep your SKS on secondary in case of last resort situations, or if you want to pull a quick long range kill if you see a good opportunity. This is one of the only times that I found the red dot worked really well for the SKS in this scenario, as having a sniper scope when you need to deal with someone in your face is not optimal. I personally think that this is one of the best ways to use the SKS. as a secondary weapon. In fact, most secondaries have a much higher magazine count than the SKS, and that is definitely true with the Tech 9. Its magazine size is literally double that of the SKS. I gave the strategy its name from being able to basically become an assassin, running around the map and eliminating whoever you want. But meanwhile, don't forget, you're using the SKS. You can still engage in combat from wherever you like, whether you're attacking someone that's on a point, you're attacking someone from a point, attacking someone that's on a point, from a point. You get the idea. The only real problem I can see with this strategy is if you try and use it on capture the flag against a team with competent players. Actually, just if you're playing against competent players, period. I feel like this is the perfect way to describe the SKS. It's really good if the enemy team is really bad. If the enemy team is even one guy that's ranked 3 million or something and is abusing the VSS in every way possible, then it's probably a good time to go play Peggle instead of Energy Assault. This next one I find quite interesting. I call it the magical shifting gun. It's a lot less impressive or interesting than it sounds. What I actually mean by this is to equip the SKS with the MP443 and switch between them based on your current scenario. If you're gonna have to engage in close range combat, switch to the handgun. It's a bit less accurate, but it has a faster firing rate and 7 more rounds in the magazine. Perfect for a panic attack inducing close quarters combat situation. At least more perfect than the SKS would be. And where the MP443 might fail is where the SKS would perform better. Longer range situations can be the SKS's strength in this loadout, especially with a sniper scope, despite what I said at the beginning. I really like imagining that I'm basically using one gun, except pressing 1 or 2 gives me different stats. 1 is better accuracy and range, while 2 is faster and magically gives me more ammo in my magazine. Now, this is definitely not the best way to use the SKS, at least from my experience, but it sure is fun. I recommend it to anyone who has VIP and absolutely no self-esteem, just like me. The last one I'll be talking about is something that I'll call the get in and get out. This revolves around using this with a 93R and putting suppressors on both, and using a stealthy or assassin-like playstyle. This mainly works on domination, but I could definitely see it working on King of the Hill or Capture the Flag as well. You can twist this up however you like, but how I like to use this is like the assassin. Use a 93R as your primary, except you're really trying to dedicate the SKS to last resort damage if you waste all your bullets in the 93R, or in times where precision is very important. Other than that, it's really just whatever you like. Just run to a point, hide behind some walls or buildings while firing bursts at the bad guys. Just really do whatever. Creativity can come in handy in these situations. The only reason you're using the SKS in this loadout is for quote-unquote reliable precision shots. That's perfect for dealing with enemies just outside of the range where your 93R can carry you. Alright, at this point, I think I've made it pretty obvious that I have physical pain on my body whenever I try to use this thing, and I've shared some ideas on how to suppress that pain as much as possible. But I also want to share some of my ideas on how this thing can be rebalanced that doesn't compare to using a Nerf gun on the battlefield. My first idea is to simply increase the magazine size to 15 or something like that, though this would make it less realistic to the real SKS as it normally holds 10 rounds. But the real SKS also has a fire rate of more than 10 times less than that of the Energy Assault SKS, so you can't really say they're worried about realism. Another idea would simply be to increase the damage to 35 so it could finally 3-shot to the body, though using the sniper scope on it would almost make it a direct upgrade to the Dragunov. So if this were to be the case, then a slightly lower magazine size and or reload time might be necessary. And a very different idea I had for this thing would make it slightly more realistic and accurate to the real thing. However, it might make it a completely different weapon. The idea was to make its damage 50 or something, and lower the fire rate to 75 or 100, so that I could one-shot to the head like a sniper rifle, making it more like a real SKS, but still be a pretty fast-firing semi-auto rifle like it was originally made to be. Though, this would make it scarily similar to the M82 if you put a sniper scope on it with a one-shot headshot and relatively fast fire rate. So maybe removing the sniper scope attachment for the SKS would be a smart decision, along with a bit of an increased price. Now I think it goes without saying that I'm definitely not the best person in the world when it comes to video game design, especially not when it comes to weapon balancing for shooter games, but I hope this video has taught you something useful, even if it's just the fact that Energy Assault exists and you clicked on this video by accident when you're really trying to get to an Uncle Dane video or something. something. If you want to share your own thoughts on this gun, please be free to let me know in the comment section. I'd love to see your thoughts on it. And that's about all I have to say. In conclusion, the SKS is a weapon that's really only good for lowering the amount of brain cells in your body, because you can feel a weakness within each shot. But hey, there's an upside to that. At least whenever you finally score a kill on that annoying idiot with a VSS or some other annoying gun like that, it's so much more rewarding, since you know there's a good chance they just slammed their fist on their desk. And if you ask me, that's all the reward I need. Anyway, have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you guys, gals, and non-binary pals another time. See ya.